Hey everyone, Caront here, welcoming you back to Suikoden 5. In the last episodes, we took over Sol-Falena Castle from the Godwins. In doing so, Cyalides perished in battle, and we defeated Zahak and Alenia, as well as Gazelle Godwin, and killed them all. That only leaves Marskal Godwin, who fled with the Sun Rune to the Astral Mountains. We, of course, are going to chase him down. Not yet, though. Not quite yet, anyway. In this episode, we're going to catch up with people, and we're going to essentially wrap up. Well, there's not much in terms of side stuff, but we're going to wrap it up before we head to Lunas and make our way into the Astral Mountains, essentially, to end this thing. Of course, now we are Friador himself. And I want to say before we do much of anything else, I'm really excited to be back recording again. For many of you who follow the channel, you guys are already aware of what's been going on, but for those maybe who haven't, I've been away from recording for about a month because I had my research papers come in April, mid-April, then I had my final exams at the beginning of May, and we did a week-long charity stream just a short time ago. We actually finished it a few days ago. So, it's been a long time since I recorded, but fortunately I was able to record enough ahead that there wasn't much of a gap between then, but still, it's been a while and I'm really glad to be back to this. It feels good to record again. So, we're alone. We have the castle all to ourselves, or at least we don't have our bedroom to ourselves, we got you. Okay, hi, you're a maid. That's one thing that this game doesn't really make clear, which is how long this war goes on. I'm not sure, honestly, and sources that I've looked at in regards to Suikoden 5 tend to differ on this. So, I'm not sure if there's any sort of comprehensive measure as to how long this goes. This comment seems to intimate that it's taken a while, but I don't think that it really did. I think maybe it took a year, perhaps, in the whole swing of things? I don't know. Anyway, let's go see the castle, shall we? Ah, Prince! We located the remaining members of the Godwin faction. The princess and Lucretia are waiting in the audience chamber. Let's go! We got the castle music back! Yes! Well, you guys know how much I love this music, so this shouldn't be much of a surprise. Okay, so I don't want to go in there quite yet because, well, there's something we can find. But before we do that, we're going to take a lesson that I learned in a failed recording of just a moment ago. And we're going to dump a couple of items because I don't have enough room for the 2 items that we're about to pick up. So I'm making room because you really want to make room for these items. Trust me. Alright, so first off, we get the Sun Ring, which we'll employ in a moment. And we also pick up Advanced Magic, which means our magic skills now go to double S. This is great, obviously, for the Zerases and Jeans and Vickies of the world, but in regards to our physical fighters, this is also good for a couple of people. For one, the Prince, because that means that, that skill of his that boosts every bit of his magic. Well, that's not it. That's not it either. Okay, so we got Sacred Oath, which affects all the magic skills, and then we got Royal Paradise, which affects everything. Yeah, now Sacred Oath can go up to double S, so yes, you definitely want this, and you also want this because Royal Paradise is awesome, and you really want to do it. So, that's great. Now, also, the Sun Ring, speaking of being on the equip screens, let's go to a different equip screen. Alright, so, the Sun Ring. You might be thinking to yourself, Self, what's the big deal about Sun Attack +1? Well, unlike every other blah attack +1 ring, which I have essentially ignored and either put into storage or have sold. Oh no, you don't want to sell this one. No, because it boosts every stat. Every single solitary stinking stat. Except, well, not physical defense, because that's assuming I put it in the place of the defense ring. What it also does is it increases the power of all that sun stuff that he's got, because of course, obviously, well, the Prince has the Dawn Rune, and the Dawn Rune is now level 4, which means we have Crimson Sky, which can hit like a truck. Yeah, now it hits like an even heavier truck, because Sun Attack. It's gonna get even better, but not yet. But still, that's pretty darn good. Alright, so now we can head out of here and make our way toward the castle itself. Well, we're in the castle, but toward the throne room, I should say. This, of course, is... If you're playing along, we're almost done with the game. The mission to go after Marskal Godwyn in the Ashwall Mountains is the end of the game. So, just FYI, we're done with the vast majority of story scenes and such. Of course, we've already had the check for the 108 Stars of Destiny. If you've got all 108, you're going to get the best ending. If you ain't, well, you'll see how the ending differs when we get to it. Brother! Your Highness, Lord Godwyn and his followers have entered the Ashwall Mountains from north of Stormfist. Intriguing. I assumed his plan was to flee overseas from Hirschfell. The Ashwall Mountains are pretty dangerous, if I recall correctly. He'll have a rough time even surviving, let alone regrouping. Most likely he's headed for the Sendar ruins that were discovered there. Really? But why now? Isato, if you please. Yes, Oracle. I'm not sure about Sol-Falena yet, but in Lunas the rivers have been rising over the past few days. The rivers are rising? Yes, the glacier in the Ashwall Mountains is a major source of water for the Phaetos River. Lord Godwyn may be using the Sun Rune's power to melt the glacier and cause the rivers to swell. So basically, Marskal Godwyn is causing climate change by himself. Is pretty much what that amounts to. What? I see. That if my reasoning is correct, the ruins in the Ashwall Mountain are connected to the Sun Rune. He may have somehow succeeded in eliciting power from the Sun Rune once again. This is bad. If the entire glacier melted, Sol-Falena would be... No, half the entire nation would be submerged. Well, that gives us even more reason to go after him and take back that Sun Rune. This shall not be an easy endeavor, Lord Wild. The Ashwall Mountains are cold, cruel, and unforgiving, Master. Only the hardiest of men dare venture there. Moreover, Lord Godwyn's men have sabotaged the mountain passes. Even with the help of the beavers and cave dwarves, it would seem an all but impossible task. What are we gonna do? This is terrible. So he really was lying when he said this was all for Falena's sake. Of course he was lying. And when things didn't go like he wanted, he just decided to destroy the nation and its people. He calls himself a lord, but he's nothing more than a mean old man. Princess? Friador. Come to Lunas. You too, Leon. Huh? With the Dawn Rune the Prince bears, and the Twilight Rune you now bear, we may just have a chance. Really? There's a story passed down by the oracles of Lunas, but it may or may not be true. No one has tried to verify it for the past several hundred years. Alright, we'll just have to take our chances. We have no time to study the matter. Prince, Leon, I'm counting on you. Don't worry, we won't let you down. Brother! I'm counting on you too. Don't let our country die. Mother and Father tried so hard to protect it. Please, you must protect Falena. Alright, so that pretty much sets the story mission for now. Also, apologies on the slowdown there. You probably noticed it because the music got a little slowed down. I'm not sure why, but in the recording that failed, it slowed down a fair bit worse, actually. I don't know why either. None of my emulation settings have changed. None of my program runs have changed. I'm thinking in large part it's probably because just how many people they had in the Sun Rune, or in the Throne Room. And you notice, of course, the way that it's laid out here. I think what you had was because you had larger character models and you had all this going on, I think that's what slowed it down. So apologies on that. I tried to tinker with a few things, but I couldn't really fix it. So it made things a little bit slower, but not too bad. Now, if you want to make a party, we got to talk to Lucerina here in Sol-Falena. This makes things a little bit inconvenient if you want to be able to get a real party together. And I think just for kicks, I'm going to... Let's put Miyakis in. And let's see, we've got Leon, Isato, Zweig, and the Prince. So you got 5 physical fighters, essentially. Let's get ourselves... let's put Vicky in the party, I guess. Okay, well, yeah, that's fine, because we're not really going to need the entourage all that badly right now. Alright, so, of course, we got Lucerina here, but that's not going to be the case for the entirety of the rest of the game, fortunately. Alright, so, now that we're done with that, I say let's go explore Sol-Falena a little bit, Now, I don't think treasure chests have respawned or anything like that, and all we got to do is look down here to find that out. Because, yeah, nah, treasure chests don't respawn, sadly. But there are a couple of things I do want us to look at while we're here. Then we're going to head to Stormfist and see if anything's changed there. And we're going to end off, I think, by going over to the West Palace. Because the last little, I don't know if you'd call it side bit exactly, but the last little side bit of sorts that's in the game is over at the West Palace. And it's worth doing, so definitely I would advise you to do the same. Now, I don't think the blacksmith here can do a whole lot with our weapon, because I think he's just limited to maybe level 9. He's limited to level 12. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could improve Leon's weapon again, which I need to. But, yeah, the rest I'm not really too particular about right now. Okay, let's see. You just got the traders and such down here, so there's not really much that I want to look at over this way. I do believe, though, and the main reason I'm wanting to look around here is because I do believe that there is new armor. There are essentially new things to get here, which is, of course, awesome, as always. All right, let's see. I'm trying to remember where all the shops were. It's been so long since we've been here. I forgot where everything is. Shame on me, I guess, but still, you hadn't been around for ages and ages. All right, anything interesting here? Not really, no. That's too bad. The armor shop, of course, I think was down toward the bottom here. We can go to the tavern if we want to. Yeah, here's our armor shop. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, we got good stuff. Water Dragon armor, you notice, improves lightning water defense. Would be really good armor for you folks in the party. Windfang's chain is about as good. Flame Array chain, we've had access to that for a while, but still good armor. But you kind of notice the theme here. Water protection, wind protection, fire protection, and earth protection, or fire and earth. So, obviously in terms of armor, there's not a huge difference, really. The Water Dragon armor, though, looks to be... Well, the Scorched Earth armor looks to be heavy armor, really. And as is the Wind Spun. So, you've got armors for really any type of group that you want. You've also got Silver White Bracers here, and you have Silver White Mules, which are good. Obviously, you notice sort of Vambraces and your feet. So, if you want to pick those up, by all means... I think once you access them here, you can then access them at Mosen's store as well, so it just kind of makes things a lot easier all around, really. I believe that's about the only thing we can really look at well, here in Sol-Falena. But I'm going to head over to Stormfist, because I mentioned that we might want to check out Stormfist too, just to make sure, just in case there's anything new there. I don't remember, honestly, if there is, but I'm going to go check it out anyway, and I'll see you guys when I get over to Stormfist. Okay, I kinda lied, I guess? Well, we're at Stormfist, but I went through Stormfist proper, and there really wasn't anything different to see. The only thing I could tell you is, for one, flavor text has changed. Mostly people are glad the prince is okay, and kind of mad at Cyleads for wasting resources. And also, if you want to, you can buy the Fury Orb for 300,000 potch, which is kind of worth it, but I'm not gonna pay that much for a Fury Orb, sorry. So, well, another reason we're here is because the only other area remaining that we have not yet visited, aside from the Astral Mountains, is the West Palace, and the easiest way to get there is through Stormfist. Just in case anybody's curious, Leon with the Twilight Rune now does some serious wreckage. Alright, so now we made it to the West Palace. And apparently a raging assassin really wanted to try to kill the prince before he got into the door. Alright, now... here's the West Palace! And it's music that we've heard a little bit before, although not all that much. It's typically kind of East-West Palace sort of music, so no real surprise there. Okay, of course, we're here primarily for the object of treasure hunting, and in doing that, we gotta find the... should be a door to this building. Where's the door? There you are. The door to that one's rather hard to find. Alright, so in our first room, we get the resurrection piece. Of course, always good. Once we get through that, we can head around and go essentially around the big rune palace here. This, by the way, is where the Twilight rune would typically be stored. Because, of course, we were in the East Palace where the Dawn rune's stored. Alright, so Windspun Ring, which, of course, it's always good to collect all the Windspun stuff. That altogether can be a pretty good armor set, actually. Alright, so as we go around here, we get a Windspun Cape, and I need to make more room. Good grief. Okay, let's get rid of the medicines. Let's get rid of the antitoxins, because those things I can buy pretty easily. And then eye drops. Goodbye. Alright, yeah. I think that's all I really need to get rid of. Okay, so Windspun Cape. Then, once we get done with that, let's head north. And keep heading north. And keep heading north, all the way around this jetty here, to get to Advanced Combat, which now improves your combat skills to SS. This is very, very good, obviously. With Advanced Magic and Advanced Combat now, we're pretty much golden as far as our skills are concerned. Alright, now that we're done, let's go into the rune building and make our way south through here to pick up the Illusion Tactic, which is an interesting looking little tactic. I'll show you in a second here. Illusion Tactic. I'm not really sure what that looks like. You could call it a cane-pointed diagonal. You could look at it as a sidewinding sort of snake. Plus 10 to all attributes for all characters, which is good. The problem with it is, well, it kind of, I don't know, I feel like it leaves your magic users a little bit open. So what you might want to do is whenever you're arranging characters in this sort of a formation, you would, for instance, put, well, actually just about everybody that I'd want to be put in the right positions are in the right positions. But essentially, you'd put your more physically minded fighters in your bottom left 2 positions there, and then your top right 2 positions here. And then you put your magic users kind of behind them, so if anybody attacks them, then your physical fighters essentially will block it. So I think that would work for that formation ultimately. Alright, so last treasure is the one that in many ways unlocks Kyle's potential. I mentioned, sort of alluded to earlier, that this would help out Kyle the most. Why? Because we pick up the Zen Sword Epic Skill. Alright, so what does this Zen Sword skill do, you might ask? Alright, so Zen Sword, double effect, attack and incantation. What the game does not tell you is this also improves the damage that can be wrought out by your magic sword abilities, which, of course, you notice the prince has. This is especially beneficial for Kyle because, essentially, if you take the Sword of Magic, improve that skill, improve the Zen Sword skill, and then equip Kyle with accessories enough to boost his magic to S rank and give him the Flowing Sword rune, he becomes a god. As in, bow down and worship me or I will beat you into the dirt, god. I've never actually done it. I've not taken the time to do it. But to be honest, it's actually not all that hard really to do, because effectively what you've just got to do is get enough party SP to get those skills up for Kyle, which we may have enough already. We've got 6,100 party SP. That might actually be enough. Or at least fairly close to enough. So what I could do is I could dump, say, Vicky's SP or somebody else's that's got a lot of SP. I could dump those into party SP and make it pretty easy. Then get Kyle all kitted out, and it's go time, essentially. Okay, with this being taken care of, that actually is going to wrap it up for today. Next time on Suikoden 5, we're going to head up to Lunas with the Prince and Leon, and, well, everybody else, really, and see what awaits us with the Dawn and Twilight runes, and see if we can, in fact, make our back way into the Ashtal Mountains. So, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see y'all later.